What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to O'Leary's Garden, where life is a garden. Cheers to all of you who made it this far and read this whole book with me. Not that it was long, it was a short read. Probably, 4 hours total? Something like that, maybe. I don't know. But we did it. We read the whole thing. Anarchy by Ericco Malatesta. And now I want to talk to you a little bit about it because I've considered myself an anarchist for a long time now, just mostly anti-establishment, and that was the best word for it. And I never really did any reading up into what anarchy really is, and I've stumbled upon there's a lot of weird branches. There's anarcho-capitalist, which people debate can't really exist because capitalism requires a state in some way. I haven't done that much research. That's what I found out about that so far. There's green anarchy, which I think I most identify with. There's naturalist anarchy, which I thought was going to be my direction, but I guess those people, like, their biggest thing is they want to be naked all the time. So that's not me. I wear clothes. I like clothes. I like having pants. Like to cover up that Irish pee-pee. Ain't much to be proud of. So anyway, another thing that really surprised me about this, because this was my first time reading this book with you, right here with you. I did not know that anarchy was considered a leftist view. It's actually, on the political spectrum, it's actually considered far left. And I did not know that because of the socialist ideology. And it makes sense. And I'm still not turned off because you have to take into consideration that we're not talking about systemic socialism. You're talking about natural socialism, which we all really do every day. It's not being taken from you. It's not your work being taken from you and given to somebody else. It's a free exchange. Okay, so now I had a hard time with this right off the bat too. I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like the word socialism, and neither do I. Not systemic socialism, not governed authoritarian socialism, but natural socialism. That's not a bad word. That's not a bad word. Okay, so you can liken it to when you cook. When you cook a meal, you want everybody to eat. You want your family to eat. You want your friends to eat. If your friend didn't have food, you would give them food, as long as your family was fed. Obviously, we all want to look out for ourselves as well. But it's also important to all of us, by free association, that the continuity of that associate. It's important to us as human beings to have other people. So it's actually selfish. It's actually kind of selfish, that giving, because it's deep down you're giving to preserve. Now you care about that person and you want that person around. You don't want to be alone. People don't want to be alone. We're not. That's not how we are. That's not what we want. That's not how we live. You go crazy. People go crazy in isolation, solitude. So it's really an act of self-preservation. Taking care of your friends and your family, your close associates. So, and I think in an actual anarchist society, most of that would be, I'm going to say community based. So you would have this circle of friends and associates that you all were kind of in life together, just like you are as a household. You would just have a similar relationship with your neighbor. So you say your neighbor was growing squash. You didn't grow squash. You kept chickens, and you had the eggs. So that's a barter thing. That's a barter thing. You make sure your neighbor has eggs, he makes sure you got squash. But if your neighbor didn't have enough squash this year, they were a little short, something happened. Too many vine borer beetles, too many stink bugs, squash bugs. They didn't have any squash. You just gonna let your neighbor die? Or are you gonna give him some eggs anyway? You're probably gonna give him some eggs anyway. At least I would. Assuming the neighbor typically carried his weight. You know what I mean? Typically participated. And that's where things get hairy too when you're thinking about it. Is like, we all have this idea of socialism that most people would sit on their ass. And there probably are a lot of people that would. But it's bred into us at this point. At this point, we're in a system that's designed to put you that way. And the systemic socialist kind of wants you to do that. They say there's two ways. There's two ways to enslave a man. And one is to work him with no pay, and the other is to pay him for no work. So, in that case, that systemic socialism plan is to grow voters and pay those people enough to barely get by, right? Well, I guess I used to work at a seafood place, and we took food stamps, and then people were coming in. They were white people too. I'm not saying them people like black people. Get off my fucking back. They would come in there and they're getting lobster dinners off of a food stamp card. And I'm like, that's make sure your kids got food. It's not for you to eat fucking lobster. So anyway, I ain't got all the answers. I'm sure I've made that clear to you in any video that you've watched of me. I don't know. I just know I believe in this stuff. And it makes sense. And it was a good read. It's a good read. Do I have that in here? I don't have it in here. Let me go get it. Anarchy by Ericco Malatesta. Written in 1890 something. I think it was 1891. Good read, folks. Alright. If you like these videos and the work I'm doing here, please help support us and me by offering up a like and a subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.